The end of summer is a great time for assessing the garden to see what did well and what you want to change for next year. This little angel has always been a welcome to the garden. She's my very first guardian angel, and I wouldn't want to change her. And I love the Dusty Miller and the Silver Falls DeChandra together too. And then anything else. That my picks for this year didn't do the best I've ever done, so I may want to do something different, although I still love the pretty Victorian blue salvia, even though my sweet potato divine didn't do that well. I really love it. I've had to change out whatever else I had in there. I can't even remember at this point, but I'm trying this little red coleus at the moment, so I think if it would fill out good, it may still be pretty. I like these dahlias after they grew up a little. They kind of hide. Well, little angel, I can get her in focus for you. But they kind of hide the little cherub angel that's in here, but they're still very pretty. I love the tall phlox, even though it's kind of waning and going away for the season. It has a long bloom season. It smells nice. The butterflies and hummingbirds love it. At least the butterflies do, and the bees. I'm not real sure about the hummingbirds after I said that, but anyway, it's a very desirable plant. I love the roses. I'm going to have to, I don't know, maybe figure out a way to less stuff that takes a lot of upkeep, though, because my roses, how pretty they are, but I don't keep them all deadheaded. I just don't. Occasionally I'll get around to it, and when I do, of course, they look so much better, but I don't want to get rid of the roses. I just think I want to get some easier stuff to take care of, so that I'll have a little more time to keep the roses clipped back where they'll bloom and look better. At the beginning of spring, of course, I put a little verbena, this candy cane verbena, in here, and it was just, it didn't fill out till just recently. So you can't see what it's going to be like in the fall when you plant it in the spring. But I was glad that I left just that one little lone thing in this, and I learned that from my friend Glenda, because this is the way she did hers, and it's just so pretty. I actually tried to put a whole arrangement in the same pot with the first candy cane verbena I had, and even though it was still pretty, it didn't have a chance to fill out like this with all the other plants in there with it. So if you can bear for it to be looking a little lonely for a while, you might get just one plant in a pot that fills it out like this. And I would recommend candy cane verbena. It's just gorgeous. I think I'm going to stop trying to struggle so much with Calabrachoa, because by the end of the season, this is the only one that I got that just did well all season long. All season it looked like this pretty much. Sometimes a little fuller than others, but it's just so pretty. So I think I got the right pot, a coconut liner pot. It likes to be drained all the time, and it likes to be watered wet or it doesn't like to stay wet. It likes well drained but an even moisture, so you have to keep putting that moisture in every day to get it. And then this is also where I live in Oklahoma. It just needs a little shade. So this is my west side fence, and so it gets quite a bit of shade. And right down here, I don't know if you can tell how pretty it really is, but this is a vision that I had last year when I saw this pretty, see if I can get a little better angle on it, but this pretty golden carya blooming, and I thought, oh, how pretty that would be with some of the pretty black and blue salvia right beside it. And if you get back just enough to get both of those, get a look at both of those at the same time, they definitely play off of each other in color, and they really do shine. And also, when I said I'm not going to struggle so with the calabacho, I did not mean this spot here. This spot I will definitely put another calabacho in. I might even put two, and have it billowing out on both sides instead of just this one side. And then I've got a coleus over here and a little bit of a pink verbena there too. But this has just been definitely a favorite that I would definitely want to try again. And I think I finally found the right spot for it and the right pot for it, and we'll see. It may just be a fluke thing that this one looked gorgeous the whole season, but I'll definitely try it here again. But some of my other pots that struggled and looked good for a little while, I'll probably put something else in those. And I'm thinking that for me, what did the best was geraniums and vinca or periwinkle. And of course the coleus. The coleus do seem to always want to shine for me. Sometimes they can actually, I had to trim this one back, they can almost get out of hand. But they're always pretty, always in color. They don't have to bloom to be in color, because their foliage is their color. One of my favorite things is finding colors that work really well together that I didn't realize did before. And that would be this pretty little purple, light purple annual salvia, and this pretty little coleus right here beside it. I just accidentally put those together probably because I didn't plan it, but that's very pretty. I would definitely use those colors again. I just zoned in on this because it's so pretty just to see those pretty purple and two different shades of the verbena when I walked out. Actually, verbena is another plant that has done well for me. It can look a little ratty sometimes after the heat, but you can usually trim it back and it usually still stays pretty most of the season. And here's another example of the verbena, how pretty it can be and yet how ratty it can get in the summer heat. And I know I need to just probably trim this back, and maybe I'll get around and do that, and maybe it'll still be pretty for fall. I'm usually just glad they stay so I can have a little bit of color. Just look at that. That's always exciting to me. And there's another example of the pretty verbena and coleus for that matter. And this one has a little calabachoa that did okay, maybe not great, but it did do okay here. There's an example of this one is an ivy leaf geranium, but it did well for me. I think they do better than some of the other things I've tried. The bacopa, I've said before, has done well here in this one little pot. It looks a little scraggly too. You can see what our Oklahoma heat does, and we were lucky this year because the heat actually in August, when it's the worst, we actually got a reprieve, and it was not nearly as hot as most of our August weather is. This little pot here, I love it. I don't know, it's just, it usually looks kind of scraggly at the beginning, and then I just keep putting things in it because for some reason I just want it to shine, and I just keep trying until usually I get something in it that will take off and go. And it does look like it's just about to get full enough now to really shine. This is a pot that I really enjoy, but I've also needed more color in it, which you can tell I have a red coleus back there, and hopefully it's called a redhead, and there's a small one right here too, and hopefully they will take off and do well. And always the Dusty Miller and the Silver Falls, the Chandra is always a favorite together, and then put something else in there. And this light green that you see is a Calabrachoa, one of the ones that I said I probably wouldn't try again, as far as it's just, they just don't stay very long. But then after I say it, I see this pretty little purple bloom I've been trying to focus in on here, and it's just, it may come back in the fall. If it would, I probably would try it again some, but I don't want to try as many as I did this last year. It's just a little too hard to keep struggling with them. There's some of that pretty purple vinca or periwinkle. I always called it vinca, but most people call it periwinkle. I just first heard it called the vinca, and there's also a vinca vine, which can get pretty aggressive, so be careful with that. The pretty delphinium did well. It most likely won't come back, though. I have had very few of them to come back for another season. I trimmed back my little pink Texas Star hibiscus today, and it had like, their seed heads look a lot like a cotton burr, so they were looking kind of ugly, the old dried cotton burr type look to it, but it looks much better now that I got it trimmed back a little bit. It's kind of like never-ending chores in the garden, but if you can stand the heat and keep it even part way done, it's also never-ending beauty and joy to sit in the garden and just see the beauty around you. Gives you an atmosphere. Being, to me, nature feels a lot like just being in the presence of God, knowing that He made all this and that we still get to enjoy it. This pretty little plant right here is called Flamingo Feather Celosia. It starts out just almost just this wheat or light beige color, but then it begins to put on this pretty little pale pink color, and it's a beauty and a standout too in the garden. So these are our little residents, and they are absolutely growing up. They used to be way back in the hole, and now they take their, they bring their little cells right up close to the entrance of it. So I wanted to get a picture of them for you before they fly away, because they very well may fly soon. Aren't they cute? Little wrens are so cute anyway. They just look like toy birds. So we came home today from a little outing, and our baby wrens had reached the equivalent of the age of 15 and a half to apply for their flying permit. And they're out flying around today. I can hear their mama chirping at them. I'm not sure. I think she's telling them to get back in for the night, but I lost where that one went. But I can hear her chirping at them, trying to tell them something. I hope they listen. When we came home and I saw they were out trying to fly, I said, I hope their little mama knows what they're up to. And she did. The autumn clematis is beginning to bloom. And soon the chocolate plant will have its little white tufts on them. And I can't remember if these bloom together at the same time, or if the white from the autumn clematis will go away before the chocolate plant blooms.